Well, that's the rest of the small parts done. Got the transformer out. That's probably going to be quite important to whoever buys the IGBTs and drive board. Same with the power supply that's up there. I've got a feeling it might be best just to ship the whole lot. Even though it's going to Italy, it might get a bit expensive on the shipping, but if the customer doesn't require it, then who knows, it could either be resold or scrapped. But yeah, last thing is the inverter block. Got the cap bank straight out. There's 2 bolts on the bus bars, and it just came straight out. Each one of these cans is 2200 500 volt DC. Pretty decent. And the other one's alternating current. Yeah, Comar Condensori, Italy. That's a diode protection or something like that. Resistor diode or fuse. Semiconductor fuse perhaps. 660 to 690 volt plus 6%. 315 amps. Yeah, that'll be a semiconductor fuse. Tough stuff. But yeah, I'm going to remove some of these leads. Just get the cables all off it and take it out as a whole unit. I'll dismantle this on the workbench instead, rather than trying to do it straight up and down. At least that way I can get rid of this housing and everything else. Mind you, the clouds have come over, so it's nowhere near as hot. But still, I think I got a bit of sunburn on the back of my neck. Anyway, when it's a bit damper and not so dry, I'll get the 9-inch grinder out and just cut this thing up into pieces. Without the side covers or racks or anything, this thing's pretty much useless. Oh yes, it's time for part 2 of the UPS autopsy. I've got the main electronic chassis out, at least as good as out. There's a bit of irony alley, probably about $1 worth. It's worth nothing now. Junk, it just goes in the steel bin now. At least by the time you get all those little nutserts and other pesky little clips out, because they're all steel, pressed in steel bits. By the time you strip it, it's not worth it, so it's best just keeping it all as one thing and just fold it up and chuck it in with the steel or the irony alley. Same with the backing there. It's just extruded, but it's got steel inserts all pressed through it, just riddled with them. So definitely not worth the time to strip down, but this is well worth pulling out and keeping. So that's the inverter block. And also we've got DC capacitors and AC capacitors. So that goes to neutral bar. That goes to each of the 3 phases between neutral, so you can have 240 volts from neutral to each phase, and they're just like power factor correction or something like that. Maybe a AC filter. They're only 250 microfarad, 250 volt. So yeah, it's just like power factor or AC filtration. I've got the current reactor out, the 3-phase current reactor, and that's all in good nick. The other one's been chopped. I think that's a DC ballast or DC choke. So it's got polarized leads on it rather than non-polarized. What does it say? Reactor single phase. Could be a neutral reactor, but it was connected across from the battery DC. But you can see where they've chopped into it a bit and tried to work out if it's copper, which it is, but I think they realised it's just way too hard to try and strip this thing down. So it's butchered but not unrepairable, whereas the main transformer, that's unrepairable, as far as I'm concerned anyway, like money-wise and actual purpose and even being able to move it beyond its spot at the moment. I tried moving it a bit further than that, and yeah, it's a bit hard. It's just too heavy, 163 kilos. It's like trying to move a 350 Chev on your own. So yeah, I'll undo these screws and drop that out and work on getting this inverter bank out. Get the IGBTs and things off, remove all the cables. It's another current transformer, little LEM 200S. Can't quite see what it says. So little potentiometers that are resin set, it's calibrated and done, sealed. There's some little neutral bar capacitors. It's between neutral and something, somewhere. It goes up to the rectifiers actually. Yeah, they're 10 microfarad, 250 volt. So they're like 10 mic run capacitors essentially.